Senator Cruz, if I can get your thoughts this morning on this. Israel came out, Reuters reported that they said it wasn't us. There's some concern that perhaps maybe it wasn't pilot error or was a mechanical error. It could be something else, even more than that, as there were 3 choppers. This is the only one that went down carrying the president of Iran. You heard the news this morning. What went through your mind?
Well, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Listen, Raisi was a monster. He was a murderer. He was a child murderer. He had murdered and tortured thousands in Iran. He oppressed his people. He was the head prosecutor before he became president. He was the leader of the morality police. The morality police, they do things like, if you're gay, they bring you to the top of a building and push you off the building to your death. They murder you for being homosexual. If a woman has premarital sex, they will beat her to death. That's what they do. It is horrific, it is barbaric, it is oppressive, and Raisi hated America and he hated Israel. When you look at Raisi would proudly stand with the Ayatollah Khamenei. The Ayatollah, they call him the supreme leader. He's 85 years old. And the Ayatollah would chant death to America and death to Israel. And Raisi was full-throated in support of that. So I'm glad he's gone. I'm not going to speculate as to the cause. We don't know. It may have been an accident. It may have been something else that may come out in time. But I will tell you, he was an enemy of America. He was an enemy of Israel. He was an enemy of humanity and an enemy of the Iranian people. And so I'm glad he's gone. And listen, the world will be safer when the Ayatollah is gone as well. And the people of Iran want to be free. The people of Iran historically have been friends and allies with America, and they're subject to these theocratic, genocidal dictators who have created a living hell on earth there.
It makes you wonder, how obviously would this impact the ongoing Israel-Hamas war? And Senator Britt, when you're considering President Biden's foreign policy approach to the war, what would you like to see him? How would you like to see him respond in this moment?
Listen, he has exhibited complete weakness from the Oval Office since the moment that he got there. We are weaker and more vulnerable every day that he is the president. Unfortunately, our allies no longer trust us. Our enemies are emboldened by his presidency, and we've seen that play out with Iran, obviously top of the list. When you're looking at Israel and Hamas, it seems that this president is intent on cutting Israel's legs out from under her at every turn. Lest we not forget that there are 120 plus hostages outstanding, 5 of which we believe to be Americans. When you heard the president over the weekend, did you hear him one time mention those hostages and talk about a deal to bring them home? These are Americans. He needs to be doing everything in his power to stand firmly with the only democracy in the Middle East, Israel, and make sure that we take Hamas out. And we know who funds Hamas. We're right back to Iran, obviously funding Hamas, funding Hezbollah, funding the Houthis. He needs to use his power through not only making sure military strength, but that he is using his power through sanctions and squeezing Iran dry financially.
And Senator Britt brings up the ICC, and that's where I wanted to go with you, Senator Cruz, on that. The ICC seeking arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, 3 Hamas leaders as well. That's where the prosecution wants to go with this. What are your thoughts there? As keeping in mind that Israel is not a member of this court, is this more symbolic? Does this create a bigger divide? Your thoughts?
This is a grotesque abuse of power from the ICC. Listen, the ICC and the United Nations more generally have long been pits of vicious anti-Semitism and virulent hatred of Israel. They are obsessed with Israel. They hate the Jewish state. Over and over and over again, they pass resolutions condemning Israel. By the way, Joe Biden and the Biden administration encouraged the last resolution condemning Israel for not having an immediate ceasefire. And so the ICC, this is lawfare. This is going after the democratically elected leader of Israel for defending the people of Israel, for killing terrorists. And the United States government should respond firmly. America's not a member of the ICC either, because they have at times threatened to go after American soldiers under this same abuse of power. We ought to respond by sanctioning the members of the ICC, by using the power of the American government to say, this is a rogue attack on our friend and ally Israel. And I'm here to predict right now, Joe Biden and his administration will not do that. They are quietly applauding because this White House has been the most anti-Israel White House we have ever seen in this country.
He has